Hi everybody, welcome back to Bearded Reef. My name's Ross. Today in this video we're going to take a look at Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt. We're going to have a look at the salt and find out what the different parameters are when we actually test them. So today we're going to take a look at the Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt. This is a salt that I use in the Waterbox Peninsula Mini 15. I was using the local fish shop water. They were making the ready mix water for me. Decided to make my own, so done a bit of research and I've decided to go with the Tropic Marin Pro. So a bit of a backstory in that. So yeah, when I first started out I decided that it'd be a bit easier to try and just get my local fish shop to mix up the water for me. They sell that, that's fine. It's extortionate. When I was going up to get the water, 25 litre drum of ready mix salt water, obviously that costs a lot of money. So I think where I was getting it from was about £7 something for 25 litres, and obviously you've got to buy the RO as well if you're buying RO for your top up and whatever. So I decided, the fact of the amount of cost and the fact of having to go to my local fish shop all the time to get water when I needed it wasn't really great. So at that point I done a bit of looking at RODI units to get my own RODI unit, and came across Aquati. Now Aquati is another Scottish based company. So I got in touch with them and they managed to send me out the 150 gallon per day 5-stage RODI unit. So that's what I've been using. If you've seen my previous videos you'll see all about that, but that's what I've been using to make my RODI water. I then decided obviously, that's fine for topping up, but I'm going to make my own salt water. So I've done a bit of research and decided that the Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt was the one that I was going to use. A couple of different deciding factors on that, but it come highly recommended from a lot of people. But another couple of things with it as well is it actually is made from completely pharmaceutical grade ingredients. So all the ingredients are pharmaceutical grade, so they're not like industrial or whatever. So I quite like that. Also the fact that it is the only salt, well, one of the few salts out there that contains all 70 trace elements that are found in natural seawater. So with that, you're getting everything you would get in natural seawater. I'm going to throw this out there just before anybody jumps in. This is not a sponsored video in the slightest. I buy the salt myself. I'm not any affiliation with Tropic Marin Pro. This is just my opinion on it. So I wanted to just throw that out there. So it contains all the trace elements that you would find in natural seawater. That was kind of the deciding one for me. So it looked like all the levels that I wanted. Kind of difficult to find some of the levels actually online, which is what I do this video for. Anyway, so I buy the salt from Kraken Corals. So I'll link that in the description below at krakencorals.co.uk. You can buy the salt from there. But there are a couple of different kind of options, sizes, and so on. So I've got the 25 kilogram bucket, which is way overkill for my tank, but that'll last a long time. I'll probably get a year out of that, to be fair. 25 kilogram bucket from Kraken Corals was $69.99. So I think that's pretty fair, to be honest. I don't think that's a bad price. You can also get a 20 kilo box, which is $58.95 for the 20 kilo box. That's just a cardboard box that you can top up your 25 kilo bucket with. You don't have to keep buying buckets all the time, you can just top up with the box. You also get a smaller box, which is 12.5 kilos, that's $45.95. Again, these prices were from Kraken Corals at the time when I made this video, so that's where I get mine from. That's where you can get them from. I'll link it in the description below. So there's 4 main types of salt that Tropic Marin Pro do. You get the Pro Reef salt, the classic salt, the bioactive salt and the syn-biotic salt. So I'll go into a bit more detail in a couple of minutes with them and tell you all about them, but that's the kind of 4 main ones. So one thing I wanted to say, when you are mixing the salt, make sure that you always have your bucket or container, whatever it is, full of RO water, then add the salt to that. Don't ever try and put the salt in first and add the water to it. That builds up a thing called calcium carbonate precipitate, which is really what you don't want. So stay away from that. You don't want to put your salt in first, then the water. Always do the water, then the salt. Hopefully that helps somebody out. So yeah, when you are mixing it, like I say, if you watch my previous video, you'll see how I do my maintenance and how I mix the water and so on. But when I'm mixing it, it takes about 20 minutes to mix fully. That's back to crystal clear water again and everything good. Obviously I'll bring it up to temperature, mix the salt in, check it with the refractometer, and yeah, we're good to go once we get to the right level. Now the classic salt and the Pro Reef salt that I use both take about 20 minutes to mix fully, and then personally I leave them half an hour after that before I add it, but they take 20 minutes anyway. The bioactive salt and the syn-biotic, they're slightly different. They do mix very quickly as well, they're about half an hour to mix, but they will remain slightly cloudy when you're mixing them. As long as everything's fully dissolved and your levels are all fine, then you're good to go, but they will remain slightly cloudy. That's just due to the fact of bacteria and so on inside them. So yeah, I'll move on and tell you a bit about the levels in each one. So the Pro Reef salt that I use, I think that's designed to be as close to natural seawater as possible. Now again, don't shoot me on this one, but I believe natural seawater is about 6.5 to 7 DKH in the alkalinity scale. So this one here is designed to be between 7 and 8 DKH on the scale. The calcium is between 420 and 440 parts per million, and the magnesium is between 1300 and 1350 parts per million. So that's what the manufacturer, Tropic Marin, says that this salt is. Now, in a minute we're going to test this and find out exactly what's in it. I'll use the Salifert test kits and do it that way. Again, possibly not the most accurate using the Salifert, but we'll go with it, that's all I have. If you've got Hannah checkers and so on, you might be a bit better. But I only use the Salifert, so I'll test it with Salifert, and we'll see where it comes out at. Second salt, the classic salt, like I say, this is more for fish-only aquariums. Or if you wanted something, a reef tank with a high alkalinity. The main thing with this one is the alkalinity in this salt is between 9 and 10 DKH. Calcium on this is down a bit, between 270 and 390 parts per million, and the magnesium's between 1250 and 1300. So, obviously because the alkalinity is up a bit, then your calcium magnesium's down a bit lower. So that's what that is. If you've got a fish-only live rock tank, then the classic salt will be perfect for that, or if you want a higher alkalinity, you can use that way. Now the other two salts is the bioactive salt. So the bioactive salt has all the same parameters as the Pro Reef salt, but it's got low levels of carbon dosing in it as well. So that's a kind of supplemental carbon dosing type thing, but it also is bioactive. So big thing with this one is when you're mixing it, like I say, it mixes up quite cloudy because of all the bacteria inside it, but it doesn't store, so you need to use that within 24 hours. The next one, the syn-biotic salt, was the last one that they do. So that is similar again, but it contains the same carbon dosing, and it also contains like some nitrifying bacteria and stuff like that. So alkalinity of that one, that's between 8 and 9 DKH. Calcium is between 420 and 440 parts per million, and the magnesium is between 1300 and 1350 parts per million. So all kind of similar, but that's the manufacturer's levels of what they say it is. Like I say, I don't have all the 4 salts to check them. We're only going to check the Pro Reef salt today and find out what's in that, but that's the kind of 4 levels. Now, I slightly touched on storage there, but with storage, with the classic and the Pro Reef salt, you can store that indefinitely. As long as you keep it in a cupboard, out in natural daylight, it'll store forever almost. The syn-biotic and the bioactive, they will only store 24 hours maximum. After that, they start to kind of clump and go congealed, just because, again, the bacteria and so on in them. So if you're looking to mix up in advance, I don't do that, but if you're looking to mix up in advance, you'll need to go with either the classic salt or the Pro Reef salt. So yeah, that's really where we are with all that. We'll jump into the testing now, we'll have a look at that and see what the actual live results are. Okay, so as you can see here, I've mixed up some salt water previously there, so I've just grabbed this little container full of salt water out. We'll run through the test. I'm going to do a pH, phosphate, alkalinity, calcium and magnesium. So I'll get those tests done. I'll come back to you after I've done each one and just let you know what the results are. Okay, so first test that I've done here was the pH. Don't really know how well this is going to show in the camera. Doesn't really look like the same colour as what I'm seeing in person here, but that's reading 8.3 on that chart. I know on the camera it looks slightly bluer, but it's actually 8.3, so 8.3 is the pH levels in this. Now I dare say that depends on the pH of your RO unit and your RO water, so probably something not to take into account for this test, but I'll mention it anyway. So that was my pH, was at 8.3. Okay, so that's the phosphate test done. Again, it's a Salifert kit that I'm using here, so you look from the top down on that one, it's kind of difficult to show you on camera here. But that, I would say, is 0.03 on the phosphate. So there is some phosphates in this. I don't quite think it's 0, it's not showing perfectly clear like 0. I would say it's about 0.03. Again, I'm using the Salifert test kits, so you know your HANA checkers and so on will be a bit more accurate than that. But from what I can see on the Salifert, it's 0.03 for the phosphate. Okay, so that's me done the DKH alkalinity test. As you can see there, the water's turned pink. Now, I've got the little dropper here. Now I make that out to be 0.55-ish, thereabout. So 0.547 and 0.56 is 6.7. So you're probably talking, I don't know, 6.8, 6.9 DKH. So it's on the lower end of what they said it was between the 7 and 8, but yeah, overall I'm happy with that. Again, I don't really think it's too important about, you know, the actual number. I think as long as it's stable, then I'm happy with that. So that's where we are with that one. So yeah, I would say about 6.8, 6.9 is the DKH that I've got here from the Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt. Okay, so that's me done the calcium test now. As you can see here, the little container is actually blue now. So if I read this here, we're about 0.12, I would say. So if I check this sheet, 0.12, 440. So that's a calcium level of 440 on this salt. So yeah, again, it said in the box it's between 420 to 440, so we've got 440, I'm happy enough with that. Okay, so last but not least, that's the magnesium test done. As you can see here, the water's changed to blue. So I've got the plunger here, and it's about 0.1, I would say. If you can see that there, 0.1. So if I look at the book here, 0.1 is 1350. So again, the actual packet says that it's 1300 to 1350. So this is 1350 here. So just the top end of the scale again. So that's not too bad. You know, the DKH was down just below 7. Calcium was sitting at 440 and magnesium at 1350. So yeah, there or thereabouts with what it said it was. Overly happy with that, to be honest. I'm quite pleased. You know, it's kind of what I thought it was going to be, what I expected anyway. So yeah, happy with that. Okay, so there we have it. That's the live results done. Interesting to say the least. I think I'm really quite happy with where they are. You know, I know the alkalinity was slightly lower than what it was said, but the other two were on the top end of the scale there. So yeah, I'm relatively happy with that. Now obviously, like I said before, that's Salifert test kits. They might be out a wee bit, but I think overall I'm pleased with that. I'm happy to keep using it. Everything seems okay. It was one of those, there was actually a couple of people had asked this question, you know, what is the alkalinity of the salt? And I didn't know, so that's why I done this video, to try and find that out. So hopefully it's been helpful to anyone who's considering moving to Tropic Marin Pro Reef salt. I know that I really like it. I mean, my tank looks really healthy, the corals and fish seem really good, so yeah, I really like it, to be fair. So like I say, that's pretty much the end of this video. So thanks once again. If you guys have watched this video right through to the end, then well done. Hopefully you've been enjoying the live streams we've been doing on the Friday. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. So if you haven't already, if you could subscribe to the video, that'd be fantastic. Leave any comments you've got down below, I'll get back to you on them. And again, like I always say, I've got the Instagram page at bearded.reef, where you can get in touch with me on there. So really appreciate everyone that's been watching the videos. All the support messages has been fantastic. So thank you very much for that. Hope you're having a good time out there. Stay safe and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.